Hey, what's up guys, it's Renaldo here. So this video is going to focus on how Cyril Ramaphosa under oath admitted that the Expropriation Act is unconstitutional. Before we get into that, please be sure to subscribe to this channel. The overwhelming majority of you that watch my content aren't subscribed. You can fix that by clicking the subscribe button below. Alright, so let's get straight into it by reading an article by Business Tech that talks about this specific topic. Alright, Cyril Ramaphosa admits Expropriation Act is unconstitutional. Wow, that's quite a claim. President Cyril Ramaphosa has admitted under oath that Section 19(2), 3, and 4 of the new Expropriation Act are unconstitutional. This is because they, in error, provide that expropriation can take place before the landowner can challenge the matter in court. Ramaphosa also admitted that these sections may render the provisions void for vagueness and contradict other sections of the Act. This admission is contained in Ramaphosa's answering affidavit in a court case about the Expropriation Act. AfriForum and other parties are seeking to have the Expropriation Act declared unconstitutional in the Cape Town High Court. In his affidavit, Ramaphosa asked the court to remedy the unconstitutionality of the article by reading in amendments to the articles. In the replying affidavit, Cyril, CEO of AfriForum, welcomed Ramaphosa's acknowledgement that parts of the Expropriation Act are unconstitutional. However, Cyril argues that due to the extent of the amendments proposed by Ramaphosa, the courts are not in a position to amend the legislation. So it goes on, but the crux is the following. Cyril Ramaphosa knew that this Expropriation Act was unconstitutional from the very beginning. Just to give you some clarity, remember, in December 2024, he secretly signed this into law, and then only on the 20th of January, roundabout there, 2025, that it was this Expropriation Act gazetted. Now, what is important here is members of parliament gets 30 days in order to perhaps review one of these acts to the Constitutional Court to see whether it is constitutional. Now, the days that lapsed since he signed it in December to January when it was gazetted was 35 days, meaning that a third of the members of parliament that could propose this going to the Constitutional Court couldn't do so because he signed it in secret. And then he used the cock excuse like, oh, the printing was out of action over December. Why then did you sign it into law in December and not in January when everything was resuming? So that was a clear tactic by Cyril Ramaphosa to sign this bill into law and not having it go to the Constitutional Court. The only reason it's going to the Constitutional Court now is because of AfriForum taking it to court asking whether it's constitutional. Also, Cyril Ramaphosa asking the Constitutional Court to amend it is not the right way to go about it. You would not think that this guy is the president, considering he's making so many mistakes. Firstly, signing something that's unconstitutional into law, and then secondly, asking the Constitutional Court to amend it when it should be members of parliament that do that. It's weird how Cyril Ramaphosa will not listen to anybody outside of the ANC, because if he listened to Cyril, to Corne Mulder from the Freedom Front Plus and many other people, he would have known that this is unconstitutional. In actual fact, layman people told him that this is unconstitutional, but he still didn't listen. And how sneaky must you not be to sign this bill secretly into law on the 20th of December 2024, and knowing that the government is closed and they can't gazette this and give people enough time to appeal against this, a third of the members of parliament that could do this. And then, you find out about this on the 24th of January, 35 days later, meaning you can't petition it anymore. I also don't know why the members of parliament didn't raise this immediately as a concern, because if they were doing their jobs, they could have stopped this also, because there was a clear interference with gazetting it and when it was signed into law, not allowing members of parliament to appeal this to the Constitutional Court. But thank you to AfriForum and to everybody that's involved with this case to ensure that the constitutionality of the act is defined and to see whether or not it adheres or not. Remember, I told you this a couple of years ago when the first threat of this came to the fore. I said that this will go to the Constitutional Court or to all the courts. It'll take years before it is enacted, but more than likely it wouldn't, because it's unconstitutional. in our constitution, it clearly defines that if land is taken away from you, you need to be given compensation for it. But why did Cyril Ramaphosa then sign this into law? Well, if you look at how his party did in the election earlier in 2024, you could see why he was so eager to sign these pro-socialist laws into law, because that would mean that the ANC could maybe stop sliding back and giving more votes to MK and Jacob Zuma. So ultimately, he just signed this for the ANC, in actual fact, not for South Africa. Because if he did sign it for South Africa, then there's something seriously wrong with him. Nobody in the world would want to do business with a country where the land that you have built something on can be taken away, as well as everything that you built on it. That is what property means. It's not just land. So ultimately, thank you to Kali Kriel and AfriForum for doing a fantastic job in exposing Cyril Ramaphosa, where he had to admit under oath in his responding affidavit that the Expropriation Act was unconstitutional. So where to from here? Well, I'm sure that the court will find that it is unconstitutional and then send it back to Parliament, where hopefully it will die a slow death, so that we don't have to expose ourselves and our country to this type of backward thinking. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to smash that like button, share this video far and wide, subscribe to this channel. And if you enjoy my content and you enjoy this channel, please consider becoming a member. You can do so by clicking the join button below. And that's all I got to say. Till later, cheers and peace out.
You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I wear my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I wear my massacre. I wear my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I wear my massacre. I wear my massacre.